Good morning, YouTube. It's 10 a.m. in the great state of Texas, and we are doing something different today. We are taking baseball cards. We're going to attempt to make Micarta and make a bowl out of it. So I picked up these packs of baseball cards from a flea market trade show when I was in Austin a couple of months back, and I absolutely loved collecting cards when I was a kid. And we pulled all the cards out of these packs. I didn't show that part. And we got some pretty cool cards. We got a Jose Canseco, really cool card. We got a Wade Boggs, really cool card. We got a Mark McGwire hitting all those home runs back in the 90s. Yes, he was on steroids, but it was still awesome. Ozzie Guillen. We pulled a Bo Jackson card out of these packs of cards. Absolutely remember Bo Jackson. Great card to pull. Another Jose Canseco, and we got a Jim Abbott as well. And I used to collect baseball cards when I was a kid, and I totally got out of the habit when I became older, but saw those cards at the flea market and had to pick up some packs of cards because I was like, you know what? It's just junk wax. So all those cards that you just saw, I ended up saving. But even the cards that are worth saving aren't worth any money. They're just nostalgic to me because I remember having them as a kid. So all the cards you guys are about to see now are not worth anything. So don't freak out. Yes, these cards are 30 years plus, they're old cards, but they're not worth anything. So yes, I am ruining them with epoxy, and don't worry, they're not worth anything. So Micarta, basically what you do is take epoxy and cardboard or another type of material, fabric, and you soak them in epoxy, and it makes this cool kind of effect with them. And essentially that's what I was going to do. You see me here pouring them in a smaller bowl, and I can't get them the way that I want, so I just ended up pouring them back into the larger container and put that in the pressure pot for 4.5 hours, and this is what it looks like. And already I'm thinking, okay, this is not going the way I envisioned. I have never made Micarta. I've never attempted to do anything like this before. But just like everything else, when you try something new, you have to learn from your mistakes. So what we ended up doing was going back, adding more epoxy. And I knew I didn't add enough epoxy the first time. All I wanted essentially for the first round of epoxy was just to soak into the actual baseball cards themselves and then come back and fill them up with more epoxy. So I had this waste block that's made of epoxy, put that in the middle, tried to glue that down, but you know what? It also helps if you actually plug in your glue gun. So we didn't end up doing that, so waited, came back, added some glue, and this part will come back and look horrible in the bowl later. So just added more epoxy. We're using like East Coast resin on this one, and there is already a lot of yellowing, and I think for generation 2 we're going to add we're just going to use different epoxy because with the East Coast resin, at least sometimes if I don't mix it right, it'll yellow sometimes, and you can kind of tell with this one. So this is what it looks like 4.5 hours later in the pressure pot. And all we're doing is going, okay, so I kind of have an idea of what this is going to look like. Have no idea how it's going to react on the chisels. I've never made Micarta, but we'll give it a good try. So the mold itself was not salvageable, so I had to end up taking a chisel, completely breaking the mold to get the blank out itself. But wasn't too worried about that. I picked those up for about $4 for $1 at the dollar store, so no worries there. So now we're just going to get the faceplate on there, get everything screwed down nice and neat. And I think this is one of the projects where the faceplate comes off. I can't remember, but we're definitely about to find out because this project does not go as well as I envisioned or hoped. So getting that onto the lathe itself, just like any other blank that we would do. Now we're going to spin it down and see what we're going to get. And by the way, it's 93 degrees. I did this project in late September. You guys are probably watching this in October, but it's 93 degrees and it's so hot in the garage or hot in the shop. It's just hot. But anyway, we power through, get everything done for the video. So here we go, just taking material off, and immediately started to feel some chatter back on the chisels. and I stopped the lathe there momentarily, and you can see there that the micarta kind of set up. It doesn't look as soaked through as I envisioned, and I'm getting a little bit of chip back, and I'm going, okay, what is going on here? And this is the first time I've worked with this material, and honestly I didn't soak it all the way through like I needed to, and now that's coming back to kind of bite me in the ass a little bit. But power through. We used all these we used all this epoxy, we used all these baseball cards. We might as well just keep on going. So essentially that's what we're doing there, and I'm just starting and stopping the lathe, just trying to see where we are as far as like material work down so far, and we're just trying to get a nice cylindrical shape, trying to just make something out of this hot piece of garbage. By the way, I love to watch guys like pull cards from like baseball, football, just packs of cards. If you guys are interested in that, go watch Junk Wax Sal on YouTube. He's also on TikTok and Instagram. Really love that guy. He's about the only person that I watch. Anyway, back to the video real fast. So you can see we're getting a lot of wobble there a little bit. What ended up happening was the faceplate completely detached from the epoxy blank. So I had to take it off. That's what we're doing here. So that's why, if you're wondering what I'm doing. So it wobbled off from all the vibration, had to come back, reset it, and essentially start over again. But anyway, Junk Wax Sal on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. Like to watch him pull wax cards. He does a lot of old junk wax baseball card pulling, and he gets straight to the point. Some of these people that are into card collecting now is like, God, when I was a kid, I think like a pack of cards was like 50 cents. If it was extravagant, maybe $1 for some certain basketball cards. But now packs of cards are like thousands, hundreds of dollars. It's like, yeah, I don't collect cards anymore because the hobby is just riddled with just not good, like, I don't know, not good, not good pricing, I guess, because I'm not spending $1,000 on a pack of cards. I'm just not doing that. But Junk Wax Sal is really funny because he'll pull a bunch of baseball cards that aren't worth anything and call it hot garbage, and it's just funny to watch him pull cards. He's about the only one on YouTube that I watch pull packs of cards because the hobby is just so inundated with guys spending thousands of dollars on cards, and I'm like, I don't think so, man. I'm not doing all that. But anyway, in case you're interested, go watch his stuff. It's really funny. I like to watch him pull cards. But anyway, back to what we're doing here. So once we got everything kind of like squared up and everything, kind of even after the faceplate debacle, now we're just gouging it out. And it does feel a little bit different up against the chisels. I could tell where the micarta starts and the epoxy starts as well. This part kind of wonky a little bit, not a whole lot of issues. You can still see we're getting really good material off, but just looking at this thing, I'm just getting a lot of vibration on the actual lathe itself. And we're just trying to work down to a nice, depth, trying to salvage something out of all the problems that we've had so far. But, just like everything else on the channel, I show failure. Obviously, a lot of issues with this bowl, from the epoxy not setting through to the yellowing to the faceplate coming off. Got to a nice depth. Looks really cool up until this point. At this point, I've decided that, everything is as good as it's going to get. Here's all the shavings and everything that we kind of got off of it. And it looks like a bowl. It looks, decent. Not too unhappy with it, just not as enthused as I initially thought. By the way, it's 95 degrees in the workshop at this point. So sanding. So I didn't spend a lot of time with sanding. The micarta just didn't react good to the 320. So from here, I went from like 120, 180 all the way up to, I think I did 320 as the last one that I did. And here I'm just kind of debating, should I continue sanding? Should I just, because the problem is the micarta didn't set up, and it's just paper that's, out of the epoxy now. You can see all the kind of gobstopper type of look to it. But I decided, you know what, I got some, clear pour epoxy, and I think all I'm going to do is just paint over it and try to salvage something out of it, because there's so many divots, there's just so much unevenness on the bowl. I just went ahead and just decided, you know what, for the sake of the bowl and to salvage something out of it, especially with the yellowing being as bad as it was, just go ahead and just paint over it. I thought this would just be a better way to end the video, but here we are painting it through, and it helps a little bit. And I don't know what ended up happening. I painted this on really good, but it made the unevenness even worse. So I don't know if it was the brush that I used or the epoxy. Once it heated up, it just kind of melted all over. But this was a better way to seal in, I think, the baseball cards itself. Came back, hit it with a torch just to pop some of those bubbles. But, this is generation 1 of baseball card bowl. We will come back. We will do this better. We will get better at doing this. But anyway, these cards aren't worth anything. Don't freak out about it. If you're interested in hobby of baseball cards and card collecting, Junk Wax Sal, go check them out. You can see just how nasty this looks. But hopefully the next one will be better. And I'll see you guys in the next one. All right? Peace. Alright, so project is done. Let me stabilize the camera here. Good grief. So, we are able to salvage this. I almost literally gave up on this project, and there comes a time in every woodworker's projects when we're doing stuff and things are not going right that you're like, let's just cut our losses, stop this project, it's not worth it. And this definitely was one of those types of projects. It looks a lot better than when I was initially sanding it. You can see the streakiness all in the epoxy, which sucks, but it's better than what it looked like. I learned a lot, so that epoxy didn't absorb into all of the cardboard cards, so the Micarta didn't turn out exactly how I envisioned. But overall, I'm pretty happy with generation 1 of this bowl. We are going to do a Gen 2 project doing this and maybe use some different epoxy. There was just so much yellowing. I learned a lot from fucking this up, essentially, because that happens in woodworking. But we didn't give up. We learned from our mistakes. I know what not to do next time, or in theory, what not to do. So we'll see if Gen 2 comes out better, because I have more packs of cards. But if you're concerned out there, the cards that are in this bowl are not worth anything. There's so much junk wax out there that even the cards that I kept aren't worth anything. So don't freak out if you're like, oh my God, 30-year baseball cards, they're not worth anything. You could literally just burn them. The world isn't missing out. But anyway, hope you guys like this. Hope you got something out of it. We will be doing a Gen 2 bowl here pretty soon. Today is September 9th. You guys might be watching this in November. I haven't decided yet. I'm getting caught up on a lot of projects. But it's noon. I gotta go watch, college football. It's that time of year. Go Tech. We're gonna get annihilated by Oregon. You guys are watching this in the future, so I'm pretty sure we get annihilated by Oregon because we lost to Wyoming. Anyway, I'm just rambling. Hope you guys liked it. Hope you got something out of it. And I'll see you guys in the next one. All right, peace.